Welcome to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. And now, here's your host, Ron Donahue.
Good evening and Happy New Year to all of our listeners. Welcome back once again to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. I am your host, Ron Donahue, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Jeff McIntosh.
Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you are all having a safe and a happy New Year. And I'm sure most of the parents listening to this will be glad to know that school starts bright and early tomorrow morning.
And Christmas comes a little bit later, huh?
Hey, at least it comes.
I know, right? So overall, how was your Christmas, Jeff?
Well, in some families, you have like a Norman Rockwell Christmas where everybody sits around the table and they're looking at the turkey or the ham and they're holding hands and staring into each other's eyes adoringly. And some families have the Addams Family Christmas.
Oh, okay.
And I am not going to tell you which family I'm from, but I think you can guess.
I gotcha. Well, I mean, fortunately, mine was pretty good. I got a couple really cool Christmas gifts. It's the 40th anniversary of the animated series. Man, I'm telling you, I love that series. You know what? And I think I said it before. It's the stupidest thing in the world. I almost joined the Air Force because of it. Robotech. You know, that came out like in the 80s and whatnot. And man, I was so in love with that show. I was 5 seconds from trying to join the Air Force when I graduated high school. But you had to have perfect vision, so that threw that out the window. But anywho, they came out with a bunch of watches with the kind of color schemes from the different Veritechs or mechs from the series, from the original series. And one of my gifts was actually one of the watches. I mean, it's like really dope. I love that thing. It has like the Skull Squad. Well, that was for those who don't know about Robotech. The Skull Squadron was the main heroes of the original series. The first part, Macross, or that was the squadron of the heroes. And so anyway, the skull and crossbone was their logo on their jet planes or whatever. So the watch has like the model number of the Veritech, and it also has the little inscription of the skull and crossbones on there. That was a cool gift. I got a T-shirt. I know we were just talking about the Peanuts in our last episode for last year. And I got a Franklin T-shirt. It's really dope. And yeah, man, I got some pretty nice gifts this year. I guess I was good last year.
Or you didn't get caught.
Yeah, Santa Claus rewarded me. All right, well, hey, let's get started. This is kind of big, our first episode for the new year. But this is going to be kind of heavy, so...
Warning, spoiler alert. Warning, spoiler alert.
So now this is for all of our listeners. If you have not watched all of the final season of Stranger Things, you probably want to turn this off. I'd say probably about 15 or 20 minutes, because we're going to be discussing everything that happened or whatever, and what didn't happen, could have, should have happened. But we're going to be discussing it. So this is just giving you the heads up now. We're going to get ready to start talking. So, Jeff, I did watch all of the final episodes, right? I know the first ones I think came out, the first however many, 5, 6, or how, I don't remember how many it was. But the first ones came out on that was just before I think around Thanksgiving. Then the other ones came out at Christmas, and then the last one, like, it was like almost like a movie on, was it New Year's Eve or something like. I ended up watching it New Year's Day. But Okay, let me be nice. Let me be nice. I will say that I was intrigued enough to watch every episode. Okay. It wasn't like I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see this next episode. No, my gosh, and I was just binge watching. That was not the case. I have been watching this series from day one when it first came out, when these were literally little kids on the screen, to now like what 30-year-olds in high school. But to me, I don't know. I never watched that series Lost, but I know people who did, who said that like the when they finally figured out at the very end the ending what it was like really disappointing. I gotta say, really, as long as the Duffer Brothers took to make this final season, yeah, it was kind of lackluster. I think the ending was my opinion, was kind of lazy. I think at the same time, not only lazy, I don't know, just kind of lame, you know? Um, so this season takes place once again in Hawkins, and it's different than we've seen it previously because of what happened in the end of season 4. Vecna and all that he did, getting the upside down into our world dimension, whatever. So now that's how it ended, right? And so now the military has taken over in Hawkins, and it wasn't horrible. Okay, I'll say that. In my opinion, it wasn't horrible, but for as long as it took for them to do this thing, to me, I think it could have been a lot better. You know, and the thing I don't like about it as well is the ending that it left. I don't mind if you have a bad ending. That's fine. That I don't have a problem with that. I don't, in real life, everything doesn't end up with, sunshine and rainbows at the end of the story. I understand that. That's not even an issue for me. The issue for me is that it left it at a place where you can flip a coin. So it was either this or it would have been this, but you don't even know what it is. That's the thing that's like really, like I said, was kind of foul. You know what I mean? That it just left you, whatever you want to think of. It could be one of these two different things, these endings and whatever. And I'm like, you know what, whatever, man. Like, I wasn't like breaking down the door to watch these last. I knew I was going to watch it, but again, I was not binge watching or whatever. Like I said in the beginning, the episodes did keep you at the edge of your seat. Some of them anyway, but there was just no payoff at the end.
I've seen the first couple episodes. My wife and I watched the previous 4 seasons, but while she's in the hospital, she kind of had me on the honor system where I wouldn't watch the episodes without her. But as we continue to move through the year, and she's still not home. I sat down and watched the first couple of episodes. I've read a lot about reviews on Yahoo, and read a long interview with the Duffer Brothers where they said, that they wanted essentially to tie the series up the way that it started. The people were down in the basement and they were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and at the same time they knew that once they went through that door, once they graduated high school and were going on to college or work or whatever the next step, that they would always have those memories, and that's what they wanted to leave the viewers with. And that's why they had said the eventual fate of 11, they wanted to leave open to interpretation. If you wanted to believe that she died fighting the Upside Down, then you could think that. And if you wanted to think that she escaped and is out living her best life somewhere in the world, you could think that too.
Yeah.
They did say that they're going to continue on. They're going to have a new Upside Down story. I can't remember if it was connected to Hawkins or not, but it was going to be with like a new cast.
Okay.
So part of the story anyway will continue. But yeah, I'm going to try to sit down and watch an episode or two every week, and not tell my wife.
Well, the one good I can give one more good thing. At least the black guy survived to the end. you know, that's a regular trope because there's actually too. It was oh I can't remember his name. The actor that's like probably like 30 years old now, but still in high school. One of the original cast, him and his little sister Erica. Yeah, so everybody survived. But
did they ever say what happened there to and I can't think of her name. I'm going to say Jane just because I can't think.
11?
No, not 11. They had one of the characters like in the first season or something, and there was like a party or a pool party, and something came up and grabbed this girl and dragged her under the water.
Oh no, she was toast, man. They never after that they never even mentioned anything. I mean, they mentioned it. I mean, Nancy mentioned her, missing her throughout I think probably the first season. I don't even know if she even came up in the second season. But nah, man, she was toast.
Because I had seen in the first episode, I think that there was a flyer of her on the wall.
Yeah.
Missing, and I just wondered if they had, found a body or wrapped it up, but it sounds like no.
Yeah, she was kind of like the one of the red shirts of Stranger Things. Yeah, she was toast, man. They never really, brought up anything too much else about her, But either or, as you said, I had heard that there's going to be spin-offs, and that takes us right to our next story. That 11 is supposed to be coming back in a Stranger Things animated series, but it's supposed to take place, I believe, it's either between the second and the third series or the third and the fourth series. The actress who plays 11, again, like she's married with children now, she's not going to be doing the voice of 11 because there's no way you're going to try to pass that voice off as a child. So they're going to have, different voice actors playing them, the main characters, as younger people, Mike and everybody. But yeah, so what do you think, Jeff? Do you think that's going to be interesting or whatnot? I mean, to me, I don't know why they're doing it now. I don't know why. Why couldn't this have come out? I mean, it took how many years between season 4 and season 5? Why couldn't they have us, watching that animated series and then come out with season 5? So at least we'd have something in between to wait to season 5. What do you think? Does it sound interesting to you?
Well, in some ways, yeah. I mean, if you look at how often animated series occur after a successful motion picture. I mean, you had Beetlejuice, and then you had a couple of years of, the animated Beetlejuice on ABC.
Right.
You had Tales from the Crypt that ran 7 or 8 years on HBO, and after that tanked.
Right.
We got Tales of the Crypt Keeper on ABC. And I'm sure that there are other examples where they've had a successful TV show, cartoon, after the main series. So
Right.
at least for me, you know, if you kind of stick to canon, if you kind of stick to the backstory, I certainly would take a look at a couple episodes before I came ahead and said, maybe, maybe not. My only caveat being that, you know, this isn't really Saturday morning TV stuff. I mean, it should be kind of like the Flintstones,
Hmm.
you know, after 8 o'clock at night, after the kids have gone to bed.
Hmm.
Adult
Yeah.
themes is what I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I didn't really see that. I didn't from what I read, I don't know if it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be aimed at kids, more like probably like teenager to adult or whatever, kind of like the regular series. Um, but
If it was like Invincible on Amazon Prime, for example.
oh man, yeah, there's no way that's for little kids. No way for little kids. But yeah, so 11 in a way, shape or form, she's coming back again. But
Until the ratings drop.
yeah, right. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I know you said you've read some of the comments. Overall, what is the vibe that you've gotten from people who actually saw all of the final season? I mean, was
Well,
people happy,
a lot of
unhappy?
people seem to like it, you know, and
Uh-huh.
it's like with anything else. You're going to have people who like it, and you're going to have your haters. I can't believe this has dragged on for 5 years. What a weak storyline.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, for our listeners, what did you think? If you did see the fifth and final season, supposedly, of Stranger Things, what did you think? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Was it everything that you thought it was going to be? Was it worth the wait that we had to wait between the fourth season and the fifth season to see all those episodes? Drop us an email at drbloodstone@gmail.com and let us know what you think. And even tell us what do you think about this new animated series that's supposed to be coming out. All right, so next on the deck, the direct is reporting that a MCU villain appears to change sides in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday movie. So I know we had mentioned it. I think it was in our last show. We were talking about they were going to be releasing a total of 4 teaser trailers for the upcoming Avengers Doomsday movie that's coming out in December of this year. So the first one that came out was Captain America, and they had him like, you know, I guess he has a baby, because remember from Endgame, he actually went back in time and lived the life that he originally didn't live, had a family with Peggy Carter. And so the next one was Thor. It had Thor with his adopted daughter. That was wasn't his name? It was Gore the Butcher, the God Killer. Wasn't that his name?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And for anybody who didn't know, here's a little side tip for you. The little girl with Chris Hemsworth, that's actually his daughter, his actual daughter he's acting with. So, anywho, that was another one where you see Thor in the woods, and he's praying to Odin, like, please give me strength, to fight this thing. And I'm telling you, man, this Doctor Doom is gonna, this guy's gonna wreck shop, So anyway, one of the trailers, it actually shows Cyclops from the X-Men, that I guess how he opens up his visor and shoots that beam out. You see him blasting something with the beam, but we also see in the back, we don't see it, the full robot, but we actually see one of the giant boots of one of the Sentinels. Well, for those who don't know, the Sentinels were these giant robots that would go after mutants and try to kill them or kidnap them and put them in prison, all the kind of crazy stuff like that. So they're these giant robots or what have you. I mean, very tall robots. I'm talking about about 4 or 5 stories tall that the X-Men would fight and other mutants would fight. Anyway, you see the giant boot in the back of in the video, but it also appears that Magneto is going to be joining the fight with the good guys, right? So from the footage, you can hear that's in Magneto's played by Sir Ian McKellen. You hear him say, "Death comes for us all," and then he says, "You are prepared to die," and then he says, "Who will you be when you close your eyes?" Right? So it's giving us a little bit of where his mind is. At the same time, when I was telling you about Cyclops, there, the mansion, where all the X-Men trained and all that is level. It's like just in pieces, right? So anyway, I'm still trying to figure out how in the world are they going to bring the X-Men, because we did see at the end of the Marvels, Photon ended up in a different universe where there were X-Men there, but that's a different universe than where we are. It's not the 616 continuum. So I'm trying to figure out how in the heck are they going to end up in our universe. Whatever, they'll figure it out. What do you think, Jeff? We'll see Magneto once again, but it appears that he's going to be one of the good guys in this movie to help fight Dr. Doom.
Well, I think there's canon to that. I seem to remember when I was reading X-Men years and years ago that Xavier brought Magneto in, and for a while there he was teaching X-Men or the New Mutants, or was actually I'll use the term headmaster at Xavier's school for gifted students.
That's right.
So there is some canon to him being a good guy. I don't know that I would necessarily say he's an out and out villain, as maybe he is more of an anti-hero.
Exactly. And I was talking to Gigi about this. This was, I think, last week or week before when we were talking about it. And it kind of puts me in the mind. Do you remember? I'm getting way off subject now. You got to forgive me, folks, but I'm coming around. Do you remember there was this animated series that came out? I guess it came out like in the 90s, called Exo Squad.
Is this a live action or a cartoon?
No, that was an animated cartoon series.
Yeah, kind of vaguely. I don't really remember anything serious about it, other than I watched a couple episodes, and that was it.
Right. So basically, the premise was, man wanted to go out throughout the galaxy, getting resources, metals, all this kind of stuff like capitalism brings about. So what they did was, so they wouldn't have to put human beings at risk going to these different planets and dangerous places, they created these, I cannot remember what their names are, but I know they're purple. And they got 2 legs, 2 arms, just like everybody else, but they're bigger than a human, and they're much stronger. And for all those different hostile environments that would be dangerous for a human being, they could go there with no problem. But the problem was, they were created to do that stuff. But then after a while, it was like, hey, this is not right. We're not, immortal. We're getting our lives put, in danger, making money for you all. And what are we getting out of this stuff? You see? So then it became this war in between them. So now when I was actually, that was like years ago when it came out, but watching that series, you were rooting for the heroes, the Exo Squad, which was basically these people had these different, not like mechs, not like these giant mechs or anything like this, but they had these kind of like, okay, let me just say body armor. It's not really body armor, but let's just call it that for argument's sake. Body armor that they could actually plug into the back of, they had like in the back of their head, like a input jack, so that in essence, they could control their mech or anything with just kind of like the thought, their thought process. And in essence, they were like the world's defense against the purple people. But when you really look at it, you got to ask yourself, are the purple people really the bad guys? I mean, because they were basically treated like slaves, working in dangerous conditions, and until they decided, like, hey, we don't want to do this anymore. This is not right. So they were fighting for their freedom. And so I'm saying all that to say this: we're going back once again to Magneto. If you really look at him, like you said, I agree. Magneto is not a straight up villain. I don't know what else. I'd agree with more of what you say, more like an anti-hero than anything else. But when you look at his history, he was stuck in a concentration camp when he was a kid. So the fact that he hates bullies and he hates these fascist government people and people going after mutants, and he takes it a little bit further than Charles Xavier does in the X-Men, because Magneto don't have a problem with killing people. You know what I mean? If you're a bad guy, he doesn't kill innocent people. But at the end of the day, you got to say, hey, look, if a person is fighting for innocent people, is he really a bad guy? So I agree with you. I'd say he's more of an anti-hero than a villain. But either or, you're right, Jeff. It's true. He has been the headmaster there, and there was another one. I think it's come out. I don't read the X-Men, but I think it came out within at least the past, I would say maybe 5 or 10 years. They did have another series with the X-Men where Xavier actually died. So that's when Magneto came in and was, like I say, took over as the headmaster of the X-Men or whatnot. And there was another one too, where he actually, I don't know if Xavier erased his memory. I don't think he erased his memory, but he just, I guess, certain stuff he didn't allow him to remember. And Magneto actually got married. He got married to this lady and whatnot. And I remember his suit. He had an all white suit, because now the suit he has is kind of like burgundy and purple and whatnot with the metal helmet. But no, he had like all white on, his long white hair flowing, and he looked like a genuine good guy. So to me, it's not that much of a stretch. I think that I don't know what the whole story is. Again, all I get the bits and pieces that I've derived, even hearing Robert Downey Jr. speak as Dr. Doom, that because of what Steve Rogers did, which was he did not live his life as Captain America, it formed a different timeline where all this other stuff went wrong or whatever, and I guess it affected Dr. Doom in some way, shape, or form, and he's pissed, so now he's gonna wreck shop, right? But I mean, I think it's a cool idea. I don't know. Again, I don't know how in the world they're gonna bring the mutants into the MCU, but it wasn't a matter of if, it was just a matter of when, and it appears that this is going to be be it. And matter of fact, the first mutant, Namor, they're actually bringing Namor back in Doomsday as well. I just hope that he's gonna, they're gonna not have him as soft as he was in Black Panther. Like, all you got to do is stick him in some hot air and he's gonna like shrivel up. That was really lame. But Yeah, so it appears we will be seeing Doctor Doom playing a good guy. All right, so next up on the deck, we have it's going to be a new animated movie that's 30 years in the making that's coming out this year. I can tell you, I have never in my life, I know exactly who they're talking about, but I have never in my life ever watched this Japanese animated movie or movies called Lupin. That's the name of this guy who's a thief. Have you ever seen it, Jeff?
I've seen ads for it on because I've got a couple anime stations on Pluto,
Yeah,
and I've never seen it myself,
right.
but I wonder if it was a takeoff because in French literature there was a master thief back in the late 1800s and early 1900s that Alexander or Andre Lupin, and I just kind of wondered if it was the same character, but I was never curious enough about it to seek it out and watch it, but I know what's out there.
Yeah, yeah. It's I mean, the movies have been out for like a long time. They have one Lupin the Third Part 2 came out in 1977. This one is saying it's supposed to it starts okay, so it's supposed to be coming out now in theaters January the 4th and through the 6th. It'll be coming out this year, and it says it continues Koike Lupin the Third's universe with Lupin and his gang stranded on a mysterious island facing an immortal threat. A prequel short, Zengata and the Two Lupins, also released in Japan on June of 2025. Okay. Well, I mean, for any of our anime fans out there, I mean, is this big news? I mean, I know they've even had video games with this guy. You know what I mean? And they're not serious. They're always like kind of like I'd say adventure comedy or what have you. I know that they're not like diehard serious or what have you. I've just never seen any of them. It's not really anything I was particularly interested in. But yeah, we have any anime fans out there, tell us what you think. Are you interested in this new they say 30 years in the making coming out? Are you going to go see it? And are you a fan of Lupin the Third? Let us know. Drop us an email at drbloodstone@gmail.com. All right, so next up, we have legendary voice actor Jim Cummings. He's often called one of the most prolific Disney performers ever, that's due to him being or voicing iconic characters like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, actually Winnie the Pooh, Darkwing Duck. Said had actually other roles in The Lion King, Aladdin, The Princess and the Frog. And so he's reporting that they're in the works of making another Winnie the Pooh movie. It seems like, and he's been doing the voice of Winnie the Pooh since 1988. But it appears that they're coming out with a new Winnie the Pooh movie. So, Jeff, does that sound like anything remotely interesting to you?
Not a bit. I never read Winnie the Pooh to my kids.
Really?
We never went to any Winnie the Pooh movies. I like him from Darkwing Duck. Big fan of Darkwing Duck on Disney. But more Winnie the Pooh. No, I just do not feel it at all.
Yeah, yeah. I know we had a huge conversation the last time when we were talking about Peanuts, and I know you said you weren't really into Charlie Brown and all that,
No, no.
but I have to tell you, I haven't really. I mean, I've watched Winnie the Pooh cartoons. I don't honestly. I'm trying to remember because I'm trying to even remember. I mean, they were a few of them. I don't recall there ever being. I don't know if it was like a Winnie the Pooh Christmas or Winnie. I mean, I remember watching it as a kid, but that was never anything that I really followed up with as an adult. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Winnie the Pooh. I mean, it's fine and all, but that's just not one of the Disney properties that I really followed very much. Not that interesting to me. But I mean, I guess it's a good thing or whatever. I mean, they haven't had a movie for Winnie the Pooh in a while, so I guess that could draw some more interest to the character with another a new generation or whatnot. So yeah, I mean, it's not going to really do much for me, but maybe it's a good thing. Disney's keeps churning out these movies one after another, these especially the animated ones, and now they're doing all the live action. So maybe this might turn out good for them. I don't know. I don't know if there's like that many people dying to see Winnie the Pooh, but I guess the box office will tell once it comes out. We'll see.
I will say, and I think that I think I've made this mention before, for
Mhm.
people who like their humor maybe a little darker, could go to YouTube and just put in Pooh Goes, and
Uh-huh.
you will find a link to a 5 or 10 minute skit that will warm the cockles of your dear dead heart.
Hey. Okay.
No spoilers, boys and girls, but you better be over 18.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. All right. Well, then next up we have there's an article I came across was actually kind of interesting. And in essence, there were after Star Trek, the original series, after it finally ended, there was actually supposed to be a phase two that was going to have 19 episodes in it. Now, the episodes were I guess, going to be filmed and put out like in the early like 1970s. But what they did was once they figured out now we're not going to do this, they took bits and pieces of that, and that's what they put into the first Star Trek movie. Now I'm a diehard Star Trek fan. I love Star Trek, but the first Star Trek movie to me was like, it was trash. In my opinion, I don't think it was good. I think they could have come out with a much better story than they did. It was good to see, William Shatner and the original cast once again, but the first movie was terrible. I don't think they really knocked it out the park until they came out with Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. But Jeff, do you think, let's go back. Do you think if they had put in that phase two and actually put those episodes out, do you think we would have gotten eventually a Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, a Star Trek 3, 4, and 5 from the original series? Yay or nay?
Well, I think so. I mean, Star Trek when it first came out in the no early to
60s.
mid '60s,
Right.
something like that. It
Mm-hmm.
was not a big television's rating juggernaut.
Correct.
It kind of limped along for a couple of years until Desilu or CBS kind of just like pulled the plug on it. It was just kind of getting to be, too expensive, and
Mm-hmm.
and word of mouth, and then where there started to be more sci-fi organizations, and sci-fi conventions, and I think that all this kind of built up until I believe there was like a write-in campaign for more Star Trek, and then the powers at Paramount said, well, let's throw some crap together, and we'll take this. We'll take this old episode and we'll kind of expand on it, and we'll throw it to the sci-fi people and they'll love it.
Yeah.
And it had, as I recall, even though I haven't seen it in years, Stephen Collins, who's had his own brush with the law,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that she was Indian in the sense of Indian of the Asian country. Persis Kambata is one of the what was she? One of the officers on the Enterprise under Kirk or under Collins. It's been a while since I've seen the original one. So I think that Paramount decided to throw some chunks of meat to the Gators, and if it did well, then they would go ahead and want to finance other Trek movies. But I think the first one was just kind of like a teaser trailer.
Okay.
Hey, this is what we could do, but if everybody likes it or we make a bunch of money, then we'll make another couple of movies.
Yeah, I think that you pretty much summed it up. I just wonder, had it been more popular, like you said, that's exactly what happened. It was pulled. Yeah, I think they had 2 seasons or whatever. It got pulled, and it was only because of, like you say, these conventions and whatnot, that interest, started to peak once again in the series. But I'm wondering, had they had those 19 episodes, would we still have how many different Star Trek series have we had since the original one? Would the Star Trek universe be as big as it is now if they had to put those, additional 19 episodes out? I guess, it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting, thinking about it, what would have changed, had they done that. I'll tell you one thing. I have to correct myself because I know I was pitching a fit before. I always said I did watch The Next Generation. I did watch those episodes. I really can't stand Captain Picard. But I was always complaining, saying that Riker, I said so let me rephrase it. Let me just make it clear. I always said Riker should have had his own, starship. And I read this thing and said, actually, he did. He was placed in charge and command of the USS Titan. But in essence, what I was saying, I should have been more clear. I think that Riker should have had his own series, right? We had The Next Generation. We had Picard and all that stuff. But I'm saying, I think, I always said I thought Riker would have been an excellent captain. It would have been interesting to see some of his some episodes, with him leading a crew.
Have you seen the ads for what is it, Starfleet Academy yet?
Yeah, I've. It seems like it's going to be pretty interesting. There actually years ago. I mean, I'm talking decades ago. There was a game, Starfleet Academy, I had on the computer that was actually pretty cool, and it actually had Pavel Chekhov, the original one. They had him talking because it was part live action and then it was part, like video game or whatever. But the live action part, he was actually talking to the cadets and what have you. I'm trying to remember. I know William Shatner wasn't in there. I don't recall him being in there. But yeah, I think it's a cool concept. I think, I don't know if they're going to have them, out in space or what have you, because remember in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, basically everybody on board other than the original cast, those were like cadets. Those were rookies, even Captain Kirk even told him, said, "Hey, look, in essence, I need you guys to put your big boys pants on now because this is not a test. This is the real deal now." So I think if they're gonna have like episodes like that where the Star Trek universe is a dangerous universe, and I'm hoping it's not just going to be all classroom work. I hope it's going to be practical out there in the field. Seeing these different situations and learning in these different situations. I'm hoping that's what it's going to be. I mean, did you get that vibe from it?
Yeah, I mean, what little I've seen, I liked. I mean, I would almost get to the point of I didn't see who was going to be streaming it, but I think it's Paramount, the Paramount channel. And I would almost put down some cash to catch a couple episodes.
Okay. Do you know when it's supposed to come out?
I do not.
No. Okay.
Well, let me.
They have so many different series. Matter of fact, and since we're on Star Trek, I just found out they just wrapped up the final season for Strange New Worlds. Well, I'll give it a shot. I mean, I've been pretty happy with all the other series that they put out recently. So yeah, I'll give it a try, and hopefully it'll be just as good as Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Discovery. They've been doing pretty good. Well, okay, that brings us to the last part of our show, which is our question of the week. And Jeff has just gotten kicked out. He was having some type of technical difficulties, but I'm going to go ahead and move on through this, and hopefully he'll be able to sign back in before the end of the show. So this week's question of the week is, well, let me start off with this. I need a new car. Okay. My car is now, let me see.
I don't know.
There you go.
I completely shut off.
It said what?
I said I completely shut off. I got a message on my screen saying your recording has stopped.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I had to come back.
That's cool. All I was saying was this question of the week, I was starting off saying that, I need a new car. My car is 18 years old, right? Wow. Yeah. So I said that for 2026, if you had the opportunity to be able to drive one of these famous cars for 2026, you got a 1-year lease. Which car would you drive? One would be the original 1960s Batmobile. 2, the original Black Beauty, the Green Hornets car from the 1960s. The Time Machine DeLorean from Back to the Future. Deckard's flying car from Blade Runner. So I'm hoping everybody knows who Deckard is in Blade Runner. Just look up Blade Runner flying car if you've never heard of Blade Runner before. From Scooby-Doo, the Mystery Mobile. Number 6, the Ghost Rider motorcycle. Number 7, the Munsters Mobile, the coach. And 8, one of the newest vehicles on this list that we've seen is the Fantastic Four's. That car can fly and it can drive, the Fantastic Four car from the movie. So, Jeff, you have a 1-year lease on any one of these vehicles. Which one are you going to be driving?
I'm a child of the 1960s.
Okay.
Engines to power, turbines to speed, the Batmobile, baby.
Okay. The original Batmobile. Okay. This one was it was difficult for me because there's so many on this list. I mean, I would love to have. But my choice is gonna be for a practical reason. Traffic in South Florida is so horrific. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I think, everybody down here has like 10 cars or something, and at any given time our highways are always jam-packed parking lots or whatever. So just so that I could get to and fro where I need to go without all the traffic, I would take Deckard's car from Blade Runner, the flying car. So at least I could fly over top of the traffic jams and whatever, and get to where I need to go in better time than it is to takes me to get there now. So that's my choice. I would take the flying car from Blade Runner. So for our listeners, from our list, tell us, which car would you choose? You have a lease for 1 year on any one of these vehicles. Hey, and if we missed any ones that you think should have been on the list, tell us too. Drop us an email at drbloodstone@gmail.com.
I was going to say Kit. I'm surprised Kit didn't make the list.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. Like I said, it's probably a bunch of them that were really good ones that I didn't even think of. But yeah, Kit is actually a really good one. I forgot all about Kit. Sorry, Kit. All right. Well, that being said, I want to say thank you to my co-host, Mr. Jeff McIntosh.
Have a great week ahead, folks. It's only just beginning. I hope 2026 is better for every one of us.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I could kick 2025 down the stairs, to be honest with you. But once again, to our listeners, we want to say thank you for listening. And you can not only listen to us on your favorite platforms for podcasts, all of our episodes are on YouTube. So that if you look on YouTube and you listen to one of our episodes, do us a big favor. Please give us a like. And also, you can subscribe. So every time we come out with a new episode, you'll be the first one informed. And if you do one more favor for us, please go ahead and share our episodes with your friends. If you're on Facebook, TikTok, please share our episodes. We're really getting more people listening. We're really building up our listenership. So we appreciate you. But either or, I want to wish everyone a very happy new year, a very safe and happy new year. And we will catch you all next time. Take care.